Once you've opened Photoshop, you need to create a new file. Go to File, New. Important, we have to get the parameters right. We are working in millimeters, so make sure that's what you've got. The measurements we want is a width of 270 millimeters. We want a height of 350, and we're using a 300 resolution. This should be pixels per inch or dpi. This allows us to print it out. If you have a low resolution here, it is not good for print. The same with the color options. RGB is the color for digital screens. We want CMYK color because that is the color for print. Choose background content as white. Add your name in and whatever product you are going to draw. We are going to work in this page and we need to work in different layers. At the moment we only have one layer. It is our background color and this layer is locked. We can see that over here. If your layers menu is not here, please go to the window and make sure that you select layers. You should also have properties, application frame, options and tools selected. I'm clicking on the menu for the layers option. It is to the right of the word layer and the new menu opens up. In this case, I want to make a new layer. There's my new layer. I give it a name, call it image, so I can import a new image. I can see my layer over here. At the moment, this layer is empty. I'm dragging a screenshot that I've got on my desktop into Photoshop. It places it in this layer I have selected. Work with the Move tool. It allows me to place this object and now it also allows me to move it. One of the things that's important is to check if there's any color around this image. If I close my background, I can see that yes, there is a white layer behind. I'm going to use the Magic Wand tool. Now, this tool only works well when there's big contrast. We've got a very light color, darker color for the back, so it'll work. To select that, it selects all of the white, and when I right-click, I can remove it. It gives me this error, which tells me a smart object cannot be edited, so I first have to go and rasterize my object. This is an object in one of these layers, so let's go to the layer and say I want this layer rasterized. Right, let's try again. If I use the back button now, it works. So there's my image. Yours might be your drawing already in a layer. I want to create a frame. For that, I need to create a new layer. Select the menu, select a new layer, and give it a name. I can now use this marquee tool to create a kind of frame that I want to put around my back. And now I have to go and select what color I want. I find the right blue and now I need the paint bucket and I throw that in. My drawing has disappeared. That's easy, I can fix it. I just need to move this to a layer beneath the bag. I can move things around. I'm going to start by taking the frame layer and moving my frame around. I might also want to move my bag, so I've chosen that layer. And now I'm going to go to Edit. Edit allows me to change objects. So I want to go to Transform, so I can start rotating my object a bit. Right? Move it around a little bit until I'm happy with the angle and maybe the placement. I apply by using my Move tool and selecting Apply. So I've got my presentation of my image ready now. If I'm not happy with that though, let's say I actually wanted this to be more of a frame and not a solid color, I can now go into this layer and I can use my marquee tool to change that. We just back click to remove that. The problem is if I made a mistake here, it's not so easy to recover from it. So it might be better, I'm just going to go edit, step backwards. I'm rather going to create a new layer for the inside of my frame. So I have more options to work with. Take the paint bucket, I can go and choose the color I want and throw that in there. This means I now have the option to move this layer around. The client specifications tells us the photograph has to be 4 by 3. So that means I need in this direction to go 3. So there's 1, 2, 3. So it is there. And then in the other direction here, I have to go 4. So there is my 1, 2, 3, 4. My photograph will sit over there. So that's where my photograph is sitting. The next thing I have to do is to add the text. Here is where I'm going to put my text in. I've used the text tool to create my text bar. I have to find impact. That is the client prescribed font. There it is. So I select impact. I can go to the text tool, select the vertical tool type, and this will let me actually type in the other direction from top to bottom. But I might not want the letters to be in this direction. I don't know if you've noticed, each time I start typing with a text tool, it automatically creates a new layer for me. So I'm going to start this again. Rather change the direction of this by going to the outside of this text box and rotating it until I am happy. The other one, I'm closing the eyes. I don't want to see that. Put that there. So I am just going to again click on my text bar, and now I need to go and find the font for my body text. I have my information on the page, but the way this text looks like is not really how I want it to be. Make sure that you've got the right menus available. Go to Windows, at Paragraphs. Paragraphs will allow us to control text. I can now choose whether I want the text to end on the ends, on the left and the right, or whether I want it to be centralized. Normally for magazine, I will justify it on both sides. The space between the lines are not great either, so let's have a look at the character. At the moment, the actual font size is 24, but the space between the fonts are much larger, so I'm going to change that to 24, but that looks too tight. So here I can tweak that a little bit. Something else I can do, I can kern it, so I can make the letters move closer or further away from each other slightly. Right, let's have a look at that layout. Yep, I'm quite happy with this. On my other page, I have most of my information in this framed area. I want to make sure that it's kind of the same on this page. Here is my text box. I need to make sure I go back to my text bar, and now I can control this text box. And so there my two images are.